So dear cadets, today I am going to teach you the UPSC class related with the chemical classification of matter. So the physical classification already I taught. Today chemical classification of matter. Chemical classification of matter. So in chemical classification of matter, basically two types are there. The first one is pure substance. Second one is impure substance. Okay. Impure substance means mixture. Okay. Mixtures are two types. One is homogeneous. Another one is heterogeneous. Okay. So just try to understand here. As far as pure substances are concerned, they are of two types. The first one is element. Second one is compound. So elements are these types: metals, non-metals. Now this one is metalloids. Okay. So just see, compound can also be classified. Just see here. Organic compound, organic, and here inorganic. Okay. So this is third time I am writing the entire classification. Earlier physical classification completely I have completed. Now today is the chemical classification. So what is the difference between physical classification and chemical classification? Physical classification means classification of the matters on the basis of physical properties like physical state, solid, liquid, gas, all these things you have studied. Okay. Chemical classification means we have to consider the atoms, molecules, ions, all these things we have to consider. Okay. So just try to understand. The first one is the pure substance. What do you mean by the pure substance? Pure substances are those substances which have got fixed chemical composition. Here only I am writing fixed chemical composition. Now what do you mean by fixed chemical composition? The meaning of fixed chemical composition is they have got definite chemical formula, and whatever constituents atoms are there or ions are there, they are combined in the fixed proportion by mass. Like water, let it be the source, let it be any source, maybe lake water, pond water, river water, means whatsoever source may be, but hydrogen and oxygen in water, they always combine in 1:8 ratio by mass. So the fixed chemical composition means their mass is fixed in that chemical compound. Okay. Now don't get confused. I am writing here impure substance. Okay. So the first one is the fixed chemical composition is there. Second one is fixed chemical formula. Both are interlinked. Fixed chemical formula they are having. Okay. Third important thing is they have got fixed melting and boiling point. If substance is pure, definitely it will have fixed melting and boiling point. Means suppose pure water is there, so their boiling point must be 100 degrees Celsius only. Even 0.1 degree Celsius difference will not come. But if impurity is added, then their boiling point will increase. Because of the addition of impurity, the melting point and boiling point of the substance will increase. So ultimately what are the pure substances? Pure substances are those substances which have got fixed chemical composition, which have got fixed chemical formula, which have got fixed melting and boiling point. If any chemical compound show these characteristics, it means that will be considered as pure substance. What is there? Pure substance. What is the next one now? Pure substance can be classified into two categories. That is the element and second one is the compound. So what is the element? Element is the pure chemical compound which is made up of one kind of atom. Here only can I write? Here only I am writing. Which is made up of one kind of, this side I am writing. Which is made up of one kind of atom. One kind of atoms. Example, just see here. H2. In H2, H plus H atom is there. O2, what is there? O plus O atom is there. N2, what is there? N plus N atom is there. Now P4. P4 means P plus P plus P plus P. That is there. S8 means what is there? 8 sulfur atom. S, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Correct or not? Means 8 similar sulfur atom will combine together, then they will form the sulfur element. So what is the characteristics of element? Elements are those pure substances which are made up of one kind of atom. In 11th class also you have studied. Okay. What is the another characteristics of element? This is the first characteristics. What is the second characteristics? Elements cannot be divided further. Means they are the ultimate. Means they cannot be divided further. They cannot be divided further. Okay. Divided further. Okay. These are the two characteristics of element. What about compound? I will write compound this side. Compound, see, here only I am writing. Number one thing. Compound is made up of one kind of molecules. Atom is made up of one kind of, element is made up of one kind of atom. Compound is made up of one kind of molecules. So the first one is they are made up of one kind of molecules. Here only write. They are made up of one kind of molecules. One kind of molecules. Example, just see. CH4, okay, HCl, okay, H2O, okay, these are compounds. So just see, in the means whole volume of HCl, there is one kind of molecules, that is HCl. We can define compound in another way also. What is this one? Compounds are the pure substances which are made up of combination of two or more kinds of element. We can say or not? Just see, in CHO4 two elements are there, carbon and hydrogen. In HCl two elements are there, hydrogen and chlorine. In H2O two elements are there, hydrogen and oxygen. So another definition of compound is also ready. Compounds are the pure substances which are made up of two or more kinds of elements which combine fixed proportion by mass. Okay, this word must be there. Compound is formed when two or more elements combined in fixed proportion by mass. Like H2O example I have given. In same way in HCl, same way in CH4. So that is there. That is the first characteristics. What is the second characteristics? Compounds can be divided by physical method. Compounds can be divided by physical method. So I am writing here only. Compounds can be divided by compounds can be divided by chemical method. Okay, so just see, now difference is also ready. Elements cannot be divided further, but compound can be divided further, because they are made up of elements. So when compound is divided, they will be divided into two elements by which they are made up of. Another one thing is, element is made up of one kind of atom, while compound is made up of one kind of molecules, and molecules are the collection of atoms. Okay, like a collection of atoms. So elements and compound, the basic difference is number of atoms only. In element, what is there? One kind of atom would be there. In compound, one kind of molecules, but molecules may be made up of one kind of atom or different kinds of atom. Always remember, in compound, different kinds of atoms only will be there. Molecules may be made up of one kind of atom. If it is made up of one kind of atom, so that will be the molecules of element. But if compound is made up of different kinds of atom, so that will be the molecules of compound. This is the basic difference. Once again I am repeating, both are made up of molecules only. Element is also having molecules, but in the molecules of element, same kind of atom would be there. In compound also molecules are there, but they are made up of different kinds of atom or same kind of molecules. Don't get confused. Different kinds of atom are same kind of molecules. Okay, CO2 is the molecules, where elements are carbon and oxygen. Okay, so in the whole volume of carbon dioxide gas, one kind of molecules, that is CO2, will be there. But as far as elements are concerned, two elements are there, that is carbon and oxygen. So these are the basic difference. Remember this one. In 11th class I taught this one. So in this way your element and compound is completed. Now elements can be divided into three categories: metals, non-metals and metallites. Okay, so just see, there is no need to teach this one. What are the metal? Metal we can classify on the basis of two ways. Number one, on the basis of physical properties. According to physical properties, metals are those elements which are having shiny surface, sonorous, good conductor of heat and electricity, malleable, ductile. So these are the physical characteristics of metals. So what are the metals? Metals are those elements which are malleable, which are ductile, which are sonorous, which are having shiny surface. Shiny surface means lustrous, and they are good conductor of heat and electricity. Now as far as examples are concerned, you can write so many examples. Basically they are solid, but there are some metals. Mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state at room temperature. There are two more metals which are found in liquid state but slightly above the room temperature. That is cesium and gallium. Cesium and gallium. These are the two metals which are found in the liquid state slightly above the room temperature. Only one metal which is found in the liquid state at room temperature, that is mercury. What is that one? Mercury. So this is metals, this is non-metals, and this is metalloids. Metalloids. Okay. According to chemical property, what are the metals? Metals are those elements which are capable of donating the electron. Means they will form the positive one. All metals, let it be sodium, lithium, potassium, rubidium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, whatever metals are there, they have got one characteristics. Whenever opportunity will be there, they will donate number of electrons and they will form the positive ion. Positive ion means cation. They are capable of donating the electrons. So this is according to physical and chemical property, the definition of metals. What about non-metals? Non-metals are just opposite to metals. In periodic table, metals are placed in the left hand side of the periodic table and non-metals are placed in right hand side of the periodic table. But left hand and the right hand, these are the knowledge which should be imparted up to 10th class. According to 11th and 12th class standard, what should be there? Group number should be told. Okay. So in the group number 1, 2, okay, strong metals are there. Group number 3 to 12, transition metals are there. They are also metals only, but as compared to first group and second group, their strength is less. Means they are metal, but as compared to them, they are weak. Okay. So now just see, last year only I taught you the transition series. Transition metals are arranged in the transition series first, second, third, fourth. Okay. Now last year only I imparted this knowledge. This year again 2 units are there. One is the P block elements and D and F block elements. So again we'll teach that one. Okay. So let us come back to the non-metals. Non-metals are placed in the extreme right hand side of the periodic table. Means group number 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, they are placed. What are the non-metal? Same way you can define the non-metals also. According to physical property, they are non-malleable, non-ductile, bad conductor of heat and electricity. Moreover to this, they will not have shiny surface. Their surface is not lustrous. Okay, they are not sonorous. But just see, in the exam what will be asked? Exceptions. All non-metals are basically non-lustrous, but there is a iodine, one non-metal, which has got the shiny surface. Iodine has got the shiny surface. Non-metals, they are found in all 3 physical states: solid, liquid and gas. They are found in all the 3 states: solid, liquid and gas. Solid, phosphorus, sulfur, carbon; liquid, bromine; then gas, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, fluorine. They are gas. So they are found in all the 3 states. Now I hope that you know the meaning of malleable and ductile. Malleable means which can be hammered into thin sheet. Aluminium sheet you might have heard. Okay. So what are they? Now gold, that can be hammered into thin sheet. Silver can be hammered. Aluminium can be hammered. Okay. So they are malleable. What is the meaning of ductility? Ductile. They can be drawn into thin wire. So non-metals, they are non-malleable and non-ductile. Metals are malleable and ductiles. Okay. What are the examples of non-metals? Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, chlorine, bromine, all are non-metals only. What about metallites? In the periodic table, there are one category of elements which exhibit the property of both. Means they, whenever opportunity is there, they will act as a metal. Means with the metal, they will behave like a metal. With the non-metal, they will behave like a non-metal. Means they, as and when times come, they will exhibit the property of metals as well as non-metal. That is why they are known as metalloids. Examples: silicon, germanium, arsenic. These are, what are they? They are metalloids. And you know where they are used. Basically, they are used as a semiconductors. In the physics, they are very much used. Okay. So these, here you can write the examples of non-metal. Examples of non-metal is oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, chlorine. Metallites examples are silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony. The, what are these? Even boron. Boron can also be considered as metallites. Okay. So in this way, this is completely completed. What about compound? Compound, just see, last year only I taught you, compounds can be of 2 category. One is organic compounds. What are the organic compounds? What are the organic compounds? Earlier it was believed that organic compounds are synthesized only inside the living body, means inside the plants and animals. Okay, this is Berzelius theory. Am I correct or not? But later on the definition of organic compound is changed. What is the organic compound nowadays? Organic compounds are the hydrocarbon and their derivatives. Hydrocarbon means the compounds of carbon and hydrogen and their derivatives. They are organic compound. Last year you studied some organic compounds, alkane, alkene, alkyne. This year you will study their derivatives like alcohol, ether, phenol, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, amines, cyanide. You will study all those things. Alkyl halide, aryl halide, phenol, all these things you will study this year. So they are organic compound, but still this definition you can use. Organic compounds are those compounds which are synthesized in living being. What about inorganic compound? Inorganic compounds are those compounds which are originated from rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals, they have got non-living origin. Non-living origin. HNO3, H2SO4, yes, CCl4. Of course, in CCl4 what is there? Carbon is there. CO2, carbon is there, but it is inorganic compound because they originate from rocks and minerals. Am I correct or not? So try to understand. Never consider CO2, CCl4 is organic compound. They are inorganic compound. Still inorganic compound definition is based on origin only. Means they are originated from rocks and minerals, non-living being. So these are inorganic compound. Okay. So in this way, now your pure substances are completely completed. Now what about impure substances? So just see, I am deleting this side so that the place can be available for teaching this one. Just try to understand. Impure substances are just opposite to impure substances. Just try to understand. So dear cadets, now impure substances are two types. What are impure substances? Just opposite of pure substances. Means impure substances will not have fixed chemical composition. Impure substances will not have fixed chemical formula. Impure substances will not have constant boiling and melting point. They will not have fixed boiling and melting point. That is why they are known as the mixture. Why do they not have fixed chemical formula, fixed chemical composition and fixed boiling and melting point? Because in their constituent more than one elements are there. More than one elements are there. More than one elements or more than one compounds are there. That is why they cannot be expressed by single chemical formula. Okay. Now impure substances, they are two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. See, homogeneous, they are known as solution also, true solution. Okay. So homo means same, geneous means constituents. Okay. In homogeneous mixture, what is there? Constituent particles are uniformly distributed throughout the available volume. Uniformly distributed, like sugar solution or salt solution. Can you find out any drop of sugar solution which is more sweeter than others? If solution is properly made, then what is there? Their constituent particles will be uniformly distributed throughout. Uniformly distributed. Okay. There is no separation of boundary between the constituents. There is no separation of boundary between the constituents. What about here? What is there? Heterogeneous. Hetero means odd or different. Genus means constituent. Here what is there? Constituents are not uniformly distributed. In some place one particular constituent is more, in another place another constituent is more. So try to understand here what is there? Separation of boundary is present. What is present? Separation of boundary is present. That is why there is a clear cut difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous. Okay. There are so many examples. Starch solution, chalk solution. Okay. These are heterogeneous. What about homogeneous? Homogeneous sugar solution, salt solution. This is the basic difference. Other differences are also there. There are so many differences as far as homogeneous and heterogeneous is concerned. Like just see, in heterogeneous, what homogeneous, what is there? Basically homogeneous, they are stable. What is the meaning of stability? Means you make the solution and keep it undisturbed for some period of time. If their particle do not settle, so that solution is said to be stable. If their particle settle down, you make the chalk solution. Okay, now you keep undisturbed, again chalk powder will be settled at the bottom, so that is unstable because that is suspension. Okay, so there is a difference in the stability. Some other differences are also there, like just see, homogeneous solution, they will not show the Tyndall effect because their particles are so small, so tiny, they cannot scatter the beam of light. What about heterogeneous? Their particles are bit large, they can scatter the beam of light. There are so many differences, but as far as constituent wise is concerned, these are the basic differences. In this way, your this particular unit, elements, compounds, mixture, everything is completed. Now we'll start the next unit in the next week. By the time, goodbye and thank you.